How's it going?
Hey. Okay, so the topic is the Dissidence update or expansion, which is massive.
Pretty big.
Yeah. Kyle, can you the map is very different than that. We have sector warfare and stuff coming in. Kyle, can you take a quick overview over the map you have created for this expansion?
Yeah, sure. So the major difference with this map is that it's 3 teams of approximately 500 people each, fighting towards one primary objective, towards the server victory. Players will be able to attack each other in their starting zones. You'll be able to raid after ESA is over. So there's no changes to raiding or anything like that. It's not a safe zone like it used in current or in the old large server. So once the ESA is off, everyone's free game, even if they're part of your same sector. There's going to be a new feature called sector chat. I'm not sure exactly what we're calling it. I think it's blocks, which is another chat layer for everyone in your sector to coordinate and figure out how you're going to take over the map. Another change with this map is there's a lot more dead space or restricted space where you can't actually place stations. There are islands, which are super high value resource areas that are relatively small in size. So there will be, conflict points that are worthwhile to actually take over and fight over. And then one of the biggest additions I think Exorbitant's going to talk about are the addition of empire-wide bonuses kind of from Dead Zone, as well as sector-wide bonuses that are going to be pretty awesome. So that's the brief overview. I'm sure we'll get into more with the other questions. And Grettir is muted himself.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, I'm very excited about the sector warfare thing, personally. But that being said, I'm also extremely excited about the rankings categories as well. We are tracking a lot more stuff and expanding on that system and actually setting it up in a modular way, so it's very easy for us to add and remove items. We don't even need to deal with the programmers for it, as long as they are being tracked. So we're going to be tracking different things between the game modes and such.
It's going to be interesting. You guys will actually, for the first time in a long, since forever, I think, you're going to actually see how many resources people are pulling out from solar flares.
Yeah, wow. That's huge in and of itself.
Yeah, so we can, after this server, we can just kind of end the speculation of what is best.
My money's on solar flares right now, but we'll have proof.
Yes, sure. But there's one thing that hasn't been discussed anywhere. I think we are doing a balanced pass as well. So expect some balanced CSS, guys. Well, of course, and what I think is insane is actually we are getting a lot more variance into the stuff you're claiming on the map.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's the feature that we implemented for Dead Zone, and we tried it out first there, is hexes on the map that grant, you only have to claim them and then you get bonuses for your empire. But in Dissidence, we actually have not only empire-wide bonuses, but also alliance and sector-wide bonuses. And what's cool about the alliance and sector-wide bonuses is that they are in the same hex, and the person who claims them basically gets them twice, once for his entire alliance, and then everybody in the sector gets it as well.
It's a pretty big change. It's kind of nice to specialize players in their chosen role as well. So we got militaristic hexes, we got domain hexes, we got industrial hexes on there. So depending if you're a hammer or a spy master or, a factory player, there's something on the map that you're really going to want. And chances are there's going to be 499 other players in your sector who also want it. So
I hope so.
It's going to be quite spicy, I think.
So how many are in each sector?
I think
by last count, there are 16 each sector, 20 of each type, if you only count the empire-wide bonuses.
Mm-hmm. There's going to be a total of 90. So there's 20 of each type, guaranteed. And then 30 are kind of just a mixed bag. They'll randomly pick between the 3 categories. So each sector will be a little bit different.
Wow.
A lot different.
And That's probably the biggest indicator for in-sector warfare, like your alliance or you want your hammer to get that hex that gives you heavy fleet bonuses.
Or speed.
Speed doesn't matter.
Yeah, we're also baking in some, I think, map randomization as well here. Kyle, if you want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Yeah, it's basically instead of placing down specific levels of resources like a large field, we're using like more mixed bags and randomization. So we determine like a field should go here and set the weights on what type of field could spawn in at what ratios. Same thing with planets, moons. So one of the coolest things with this new map is that there's a chance of a really strong high roll for really good positions that are completely open and not protected by NPCs. And there's also on the flip side a chance for low roll or certain areas that should kind of be good or they're around good areas, but they're, they rolled a little low, so they're just not the most competitive. So we're really excited to see kind of what people can come up with. And one of the things this will do is it makes each server more unpredictable as opposed to earlier in beta when most veterans knew exactly where they were going with their second and third stations. They just knew exactly what they're going to be doing because they knew the resources never really changed.
So every time you're going to play a Dissidence server, it's going to be mixed up and you don't know exactly where to go.
Yes.
North.
Drunk station, best station, I hear is the best method, to be honest, but things might be changing.
Yeah, I mean, look, Starborne is a big game and all that, but I would say one of its strongest features is the map itself, and giving the map this addition kind of is a kind of in my mind is a safe improvement.
Yeah.
And right now we can basically add any in-game effect onto the map, which is very cool.
I know I watched Faka's stream yesterday, and I know all of you guys were wondering about the numbers that were posted. There was a disclaimer that they weren't final, and they absolutely are not. I will be taking a hard look at the balance of the entire Dissidence scenario over the weekend. There are a couple of things that spring to mind. Given some of the absolutely beautiful areas that Omni has created, I'm thinking that MPL might be a little bit overpowered for this map. So I'll be taking a look at that, measuring those, for example. I think it's likely that the passive resource bonus is going to come down a little bit for this map, but we'll see by how much.
Okay. So I asked Kai to count the revamped UI panels, and he said there are more than a dozen.
Nice. Yeah.
So all the alliance system is basically revamped.
It's the whole join alliance, my alliance, alliance overview, political overview,
memos, and I'm not sure if you mentioned this. I did post a picture on the chat here that the alliance quests.
Oh yeah. Yeah, this kind of got slipped through the cracks in our dev blogs, but there's a whole customizable system now in the alliance panel. When you create your own alliance, you get a choice of up to, I think, 77 different logos, which you can customize the color for them and the color for your background to kind of create like a flag or a crest for your alliance. And that will be how you look in game, which is, I think, pretty cool.
Will that be visible on the stations?
I think it will be, yeah. I think we got that in today. So when you view someone's station, it'll show your alliance crest next to your
see
name.
in the picture, yeah. Okay, awesome. I hadn't seen them on the map. That's
where have
great.
you been?
I've got my nose in Google Excel sheets. I only see numbers.
Okay. But yes, so it's not a huge change on the programming side, adding sector warfare, but it does change the meta. And I think it's always good to shake it up a little bit. But that being said, we are testing this out. This is something we have been thinking about kind of for the next releases, the sector warfare. So it's kind of our opportunity to get at least a feeling for it, if it's viable in the future or not.
Yeah.
So something came up on Faka's stream last night, which I found to be a tantalizing idea. Is that what if like when you go into a Dissidence server that you cannot choose the sector, but you have to go out and spawn randomly to mix them up.
This came up as well.
Yeah, well,
I like it.
Cecil has been at least pit this once, but there's nothing stopping from people from just creating new accounts.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, all right, then you can spawn in without,
But you'll still
your
randomly
account
spawn,
benefits.
so you have to probably do that 10 times to get where you want to be.
Well, see, I think I found the idea interesting, and I'm going to float it around a little bit at the office and see what we think.
Because it's interesting, because I remember we had this discussion, I think, end of Alpha 9 or maybe end of Alpha 8, was it? And we were talking with a few of the veteran groups at the time, like, do you want random spawn? And the answer was an emphatic no, because they want to play with their friends.
Mm-hmm.
They want to spawn in with their buddies and, the people they know.
And do maybe one of these.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, we could try it out once at least.
But it seems like people leading these alliances, maybe they want to shift it up a bit. You don't want to lead all the time. You want to just random spawn and just see where the dice roll. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, like I said, like we need to talk about it a little bit better. Like it's not a clear-cut better scenario, but it's a different scenario that we might want to explore.
All right. So, other than this quality of life stuff like alliance memos and such, we are doing some visual updates with the camera.
Yeah, so
that was so cool.
That was sick. So JD, one of our delicious programmers here, he's put a lot of time and effort into sort of like a camera inspect method, which when you double click on a hex, the camera zooms in and kind of just shows it off in its assets. And it works as well for movements, I believe.
Yeah, there's a extremely small button which you can click and you can follow your fleets around.
Nice, yeah.
It's kind of screensaver mode, isn't it?
Yeah,
I heard them calling it that.
Exactly. But I mean, people who don't like this, they can turn it off in game settings.
Yeah, but also when you double click a hex, it opens up the panel that's like inspect hex and zooms to it, focuses on it.
Yeah.
So like as soon as you want to know something about a hex, you just double click it, you zoom to it, and you get all the information about it.
Awesome. Yeah. It's really pretty cool. So we have a black hole on the new corner.
Oh.
The return of the hole.
The return of the hole. I know we had an overlay picture in one of the dot blocks showing the radiation sign, but yeah, it's not the radiation sign.
Yeah, the radiation sign is gone. There's no radiation in this map.
There's a black hole. Okay, so it's a lot of stuff, lot of, I would say, generic, very good improvements to the Starborne experience, and plus the games just play a lot differently with the Cyber Warfare.
Yeah, for sure. It's a totally different game mode, like just how players establish themselves in the early game to, who they pick fights with, whether it's in their own sector or whether they go to their neighbors immediately, what hexes they prioritize. It's
basically like if you enjoy being an asshole, then this map is for you.
Yeah.
You just attack your neighbors to claim their special hexes.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be fun.
I don't think we have any such players in Starborne.
They're all total angels. They would never dream of doing something like that.
That's not derogatory. I enjoy being an asshole once in a while.
And you're banned. Anyways, there is another thing we haven't discussed at all, which is Ari and a few others has been working on a secret project which is kind of expanding upon the lore of Starborne.
Yes. So,
if I can
go ahead. Sorry. I thought that was my segment.
Well, it sounded like almost, yeah. But the name Dissidence comes from somewhere.
Yes.
So can you go into that a little bit?
Yes. So, as some or most of you know, the lore that we have today, which is solely on the Discord channel, but has now been archived, right?
Yeah. Not yet, but will be.
It was written like almost 4.5 years ago. Since that time, the game mechanics, the game, and the content of the game has changed tremendously. So what we're doing now is that we're putting a lot of effort into restructuring the Starborne universe. This includes technology, geography, politics, background stories for all factions, major people. We're going to go through the whole thing. We have hired 2 writers to do this in conjunction with myself. One is our very own Sai, who you guys should
know and love.
He did most of the buildings flavor text. That was his first job as a writer for us. And then we hired a Canadian writer called CG English. those two form a formidable team, and I'm really loving what they're producing so far. We aim to have a dev blog out about the lore, at least the beginning of the lore, on Monday. So what you can expect, guys, is that some things will be shaken up. Some things might change a little bit. We're going to try and keep true to most of the characters and the factions and such, but we kind of want to keep what we like and discard what we don't. So for like the most extreme example would be like there will be no more mentioning of aliens anywhere in the lore. There are no aliens in the Starborne universe. The Starborne universe is going to take place in our very own galaxy of the Milky Way. We don't need to have galaxy jumping. And what we aim to do with this later is that there's a real geographical map of the Milky Way universe, and whenever you play a server, that server has a naming convention which tells you where in the Milky Way that server is and which part of its region and sector. And when that server finishes, the kind of overall team that won the server, that region of space will permanently be marked as controlled by that.
We have
those
to
people.
Implement it. But.
Yeah, but yeah, this is like the big plan for the overall shop. So whenever you guys play and win a server, you will be literally changing the history of Starborne. But this is in the future. It's not going to happen anytime soon.
Okay, that's kind of what I want to get at.
Okay, go ahead.
It might happen soon. It just depends on Kieran, because it's not like we are finishing a server every hour. It's maybe 2 every week. Yeah. It's easy to update even those manually.
Okay. Yeah. So to reinforce this, we are restructuring the human history in the Starborne universe. And on Monday, you will see a lore piece that kind of explains, at least to a degree, what that's like. And what we actually have, guys, are 3 overall blocks of humans. There are people that control the lunar colonies, the Martian colonies, and then the people that rose up from Earth and overthrew those governments and took the system of Sol. So when you join a sector in Dissidence, you're actually joining one of those 3 human factions and deciding which one of them gets to own that space.
Well, expansive. That's a funny thing. This was before Expanse came out on TV, at least.
This has been like a long-seated plan for the direction of the lore, and it's taking shape now. But I mean, there's obvious parallels. We like it. We love it. We think you'll love it too.
Well, it's kind of hard if they are taking ownership of Earth, Lunar, and Mars. It kind of leaves a lot of sci-fi out there.
But what's absolutely wonderful with these writers that we have is that they're taking so much care with not only just the flavor and the prose of the world, but also the details of the technology and the political history of it. We're going to have a really detailed timeline explaining major events and minor events that you guys will go to starborne.com and kind of scroll through it, or click on events if you want to read in more detail about them. And the technology is going to be fully explained, and it's going to, once we have done the lore work, the in-game references and the in-game technology is all going to be more cohesive, and it's going to make more sense all the time. We're not going to have something that doesn't make any sense.
So there is an ongoing lore with the expansion kind of will, the lore will update with the expansion.
Yes. Yeah. We will, for the first time, you will see, for the first time on Monday, you will see the first lore piece that is set in stone for the Starborne universe, and it's going to explain a few things and talk a little bit about the world.
So Dissidence is kind of a prologue into the story. And when you select a sector, you are actually supporting a faction there.
You're choosing your allegiance to one of the 3 big...
Yes, so because these are like umbrella terms over powers of political blocks, we're calling them like the 3 human blocks. That's just a term. It probably won't be referenced much in game, but that's like what you call it. And when you select a sector on a Dissidence server, there will be a little explanation about the block you are playing for when you click the sectors. So that, coupled with the lore piece, will be your first introduction to the new structured lore of Starborne universe.
Pretty awesome, gotta say.
I'm psyched.
I'm very excited about that.
I've been reading all the stuff, and I can say it's a lot of stuff going on there. So, yeah, I'm excited. I think it's time to kind of integrate our lore a little bit better into Starborne. Okay, so should we just dive into the questions? I mean,
Sure.
I think there are a lot
there
of
were quite a few
questions.
questions. We opened up the questions quite early today, so people jumped in, and a few more have been added. So yeah, let's start at the top.
Oh, yeah. One more thing. People were kind of wondering why the name Dissidence is there. That is just like because of there are these 3 human blocks that don't see eye to eye. So that is kind of like the brand of the whole thing. That there is dissidence in the human collective. That they're not united.
Okay. Well, I'm excited, Are, and I'm pretty sure many others are for this.
Yeah,
I want to see what happens next year.
just also the potential for players to role play in servers now that we're giving them, some meat to chew onto when they jump into a server, and what that brings to the stories. It's great. Yeah, can't wait.
So, will we be able to attack other players in our home sector? Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like Omni said, once ESA is off, all bets are off.
So basically, everyone who joins a sector will have a common goal with his sector mates.
Yeah,
With his block.
With his, that's that right. But there are 2 goals basically. The big one for the sector to win, but we are also tracking victory points on alliances. And there will be a separate kind of victory goal for that reward. I was going to say something. Yes. And another thing, you cannot join alliances from other sector than your home sector.
That's pretty big. So the sector you spawn into, the only alliances you're eligible to join are also alliances from that sector. You can't join a sector, an alliance from a neighboring sector. You're kind of locked into your starting 500 players. Pretty.
Okay, so
if I recall correctly, beta was supposed to be hardening and bug fixes. Why such a drastic change in the game and map?
Are we skipping Franco's second question? What are sector level goals and alliance level goals for the server victory?
I was just
we just covered that.
Yeah.
Kind of
okay. Where was you? Yeah, he's stuck in our lore somewhere.
I thought it was numbers he was looking.
Never mind. We continue.
So Muse is asking, beta was supposed to be hardening and bug fixes. Why such a drastic change in the game map? Is it to be more noob friendly? If so, what do you intend this to mean for your hardcore fan base? We are still hardening and fixing bugs as we go. The game's been pretty stable, I think, for the last 6 months in terms of crashes and whatnot. So we're definitely still chugging on in that respect. Why such a drastic change in the game and map?
Well, I mean,
because it's fun.
Yeah, it's great.
I'm going to say, so I thankfully I have a filter sometimes. But yeah, I mean, there are going to be a lot of changes incoming before we release. But we want variance. I mean, we are testing out game modes and we'll revisit many of them. At some point, we want you to be able to select from 3 or 4 game modes.
Yeah. So I think my takeaway from the different maps and games that we're putting out now is that the previous ones, they aren't going away. Just because we're going in a slightly new direction or testing out a new map or a new layout or something, the other ones still exist, and it's something we might revisit in the future.
They're just being banged.
Yeah.
Any changes to solo players? Yeah, but mechanically, I don't think so.
No.
Balance-wise, yes.
My wish for mechanical changes to solo players is still not in the pipeline. But I will be taking a hard look at the output of solo players.
Okay, then Rotape. How many of each sector-wide strategic hexes are there in each sector? Omni, Cal.
Yeah, I assume that's talking about
The dual ones.
the bonuses for the sector, or just the victory?
How many dual ones are in each sector? The 7?
Rotape's first question.
Yeah, it's seven that give bonuses, and then in terms of strategic hexes that give victory points, there are 5 in each sector, and each of those are worth 3 points each. And then the center of the map has, right now it has 12, I believe, that are worth 1 point each. We're still playing with the numbers there, but basically the majority of your victory points will come from the strategic hexes in your sector, and you have to defend those because they're worth a lot of points. And then the center has strategic hexes that are worth 1 point each, so you can like edge out your victory that way.
Then the second one, can you claim sector-wide strategic hexes from a sector different to your own?
As far as I know, yes, that's a technical thing, though.
Yeah, well, yes, you can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can strategic hexes be unclaimed?
No.
Well, he probably is thinking about the
victory points. Nothing should be unclaimable.
And that also goes for the special hexes. You cannot unclaim them. There's no dropping claim to give somebody a temporary bonus and then reclaiming it.
Just too many shenanigans were possible if they were unclaimable, we think.
An alliance victory, yes, it's still the same as the sector one. For the alliances who are kind of have the most victory points.
Yeah.
And a small detail, like if you are displaying the key hexes on the map, it's going to show both the victory points and the special hexes. But we're going to patch in a separation for that after we launch. And then the next one, Ancienter.
Ancienter, yeah. Do sector-wide strategic hexes stack?
Yes. We already did cover that. Do Empire strategic hexes stack? Yes.
How many spawn points will there be per sector?
500.
Yep.
Roughly 500.
Yeah. Is the map going to be released on October?
Yeah, so it's coming out on a Thursday.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, it's the tech team who kind of insisted on having at least Friday to fix stuff before the weekend.
Yeah.
So we are working over this weekend, and we want at least give them a chance to fix the major issues on Friday. For the FOBs, we are just looking over it.
Yes, the question is, have the FOBs been adjusted for this map too, like the medium map? We haven't done anything yet, but I'll be taking a look at that as well.
This map, even though it has less playable area, it is still the same like total size as the initial beta map. So it's 510 hex radius. It's the same as the...
Yeah, there might not be any change needed. We're just going to quickly go over it and see and assess the situation.
Are there any limits to what they can do in-game based on the second? No. Well, yeah. No, there are no limits.
There's no limits. No. You're just playing. You can just join alliances from your sector. That's about the only real limit there.
Okay. Where will the strategic hexes be on the map?
All over.
No, okay. So can you each sector contains how many? Each of the starting sectors? Cal? Did you drop out?
You might have dropped out. I think
that's right.
Okay.
Discord's giving me issues.
You with us?
So the question is, where will strategic hexes base be on the map?
It's in this. Basically, they will be everywhere. So it's both in the green areas, the starting zones, and then in the middle as well.
So when he says strategic hexes, is he talking about the victory points or the special hexes?
Yeah. If it's the victory hexes, then
the victory hexes are all close to the middle or in the middle, while the
no,
they're not.
No, they're all over the place.
No, the victory points.
Yes.
No, they're in the sectors close to the middle, not in the edge of the sectors. And then in the middle itself.
Yeah, the victory point hexes. So yeah, we had a bit of a naming terminology dilemma on our hands here, because strategic hexes makes the most sense for the Empire hexes, but then we had the strategic victory. So we're reserving the term strategic hexes for the victory point hexes, and we're going to be using, I think, special hexes for everything else. So to answer Rohit's question, the victory point hexes, they are in the middle of the map, and there are a handful in the high value area, like towards the center of the map. But the empire-wide and the dual sector special hexes, they are scattered all over the map in the starting zones, on the islands, yeah. So plenty of areas to expand into and see.
The empire-wide hexes are located in the spawn zones as well as on the islands. The islands also have some empire bonuses. Sector-wide bonuses are explicitly in the starting zones, and then victory points are in the high-value areas, so towards the center of each sector, and then also in the center.
And it's worthy to note that in the map editor, we only place down, like, this hex is supposed to contain an industrial special hex. We don't know actually which effect ends up in that place, so that's going to be highly randomized.
So how many servers can we expect with a new? It's at least going to be running until December. So for
one server.
Yeah, how many? It just depends on how many are interested in playing, I guess.
Yeah. It's a smaller server, so there's like 1,500 spots compared to the current 4,000-ish.
Will we be switching to a medium and large map anytime in the future? Definitely. So are NPCs balanced to what they're specialized for?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So what inspired you, the entire team, to head down this direction? Wow. So we've been contemplating sector warfare for a while. We tried the coalitions. We did like in A8.
Alpha 8.
Yeah.
There was some sector warfare in Alpha 8 when players all spawned in a sector and that became their sector, but it was always kind of a bit loose as to who spawned where and who ran away with it.
So this idea has been floating around the office for a while now, but compared to the stuff we are thinking about in maybe the future releases, we wanted to try this out now because the results from this, if this is viable, will affect them in some way. Whether it's going to be a smash hit, I definitely hope so. I mean, but it is a test. And so we're just rolling the dice on this.
Yeah.
I'm excited for one thing at least. For me as a player, like if I'm an alliance, I have a purpose right from the get-go.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily want to win the game, at least help out my sector in some way.
Yeah, there's like a clearly defined goal for everyone to work towards, depending on the sector you spawn in. And like the lines are drawn in the sand. Like you know where your enemies are, you know what the other sectors are, who you are competing with.
So large coalitions on this, is this going to help the problem, or it depends on the server. I'm sure there will be a server which has a huge pre-made going into it, but
yeah.
Infighting, well, that's a very good question.
That's kind of up to you guys.
Yeah.
I know I want my special hexes, and I will at least not hesitate to do a pay more for it.
I'll probably want your special hexes as well, so there we go.
I'll tell you what, like if I'm a key member of my alliance and there's a juicy special hex close to me and I deem the current claimant unworthy of it, it's going to be mine.
But would you kill off that player or just...
Well, he can't drop claim, so you're going to have to.
Well, very, very often...
it's his station, then.
Yeah, very often, words to the trick.
Uh-huh.
Do you know who I am?
You're still banned, you know that.
Damn it.
Okay.
What were your favorite and least favorite things from the first two beta maps, and how does this third map improve upon previous maps?
Well, firstly, the special hexes create a wonderful flora of different objectives that you set for yourself in the game. I think that's a huge step forward to making the map more vibrant and more interesting to survey and control. So that's, I think, to me, they were a huge success in Dead Zone. I think they're going to be a huge success here as well.
What I liked from the first map we did, I love the kind of the race to the middle, like where everyone spawned on the outside in that safe green zone and they all kind of creep towards the middle and just establish themselves.
I did like that as well. I'm not sure if I had any like major issues with that map. I kind of felt the middle was not, at least for me, was not exciting enough to kind of even contemplate going there when I was playing.
Yeah, like it had the mechanisms for your victory points, but it didn't have much else. So it kind of felt like you just went there for that victory condition.
The second map is kind of, we wanted the same elements from a beta, just in a smaller scale. I think that was the main goal there. But like for this, I'm just super excited for the kind of, we are setting it up in this way just because of the cycle warfare thing.
Yeah.
It's not because of the beta map per se. It's just we have this mechanic coming in and we are making the map from that.
So I view this new map as a kind of a combination of the previous two, where instead of all spawning around the outside, you spawn in the starting zone, which is more condensed, like in the current beta map, and everyone is still racing towards the middle to a certain degree, but it's less forced. It's like,
How many questions?
Oh, there's a lot of questions. Okay, we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit, I think. You guys have been very busy with the questions.
Main conditions, we covered that already.
Mechanisms
of the empires.
What do you still need to tweak, or are you unsure of whether it needs a buffer or nerf? We're looking at the balance this weekend mostly. The numbers posted in the dev blog, they were not final. They were a little bit close, but there were quite a few substantial changes to a few of them. We'll have a full patch note, obviously, before we go live on the 1st, I imagine. So you'll see all that then. Are each of the strategic hexes going to have a unique art?
Not
all of them. The dual sector-wide alliance ones, they'll all have a unique art splash, but for just the amount of empire-wide ones across the 3 categories, they'll be sharing one, I think, for each domain.
I mean, they're going to be color-coded depending on which aspect of your empire they pertain to.
I mean, it's like 25 different hexes.
Yeah. So it's just a lot of hexes.
You'll see, like, I think it's going to be some kind of a gaseous cloud or a little nebula or something, and it's going to be,
it'll be colored,
blue if it's domain, and then you just have to hover over it to see what it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Are the hexes new ones tied to the lore? Are they?
We are feverishly working on that this weekend. Hopefully, we can also do a pass on the NPCs to tie them stronger into the lore. We'll see how far we get along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But absolutely, like, we already have established the dual special hexes into the lore.
Yeah. How comparable are these NPCs that guard the sector-wide effect to large map NPCs? Are they Gelasek level or are they Bindenberg level?
So far, like, we have not fiddled with the strength of the NPCs yet.
What are your expectations on alliances doing politics to claim a certain empire fact? Very high.
I hope you guys do a lot of it.
You should talk to your other alliances and see what they want.
People will be arguing a lot over who should get what.
With how competitive it's going to look, smaller spawn points, lesser sectors, more power for a controlling alliance, do you think that newbies are not going to struggle more with this map?
I think there's going to be plenty of space. I'm not sure they'll struggle more. I mean, they at least if you're in the same sector as a newbie, you always have use for him.
I think it streamlines it as well. Like, there's only one victory condition. So if you're a new player currently, it's like, oh, what's the Dyson, what's the territorial, and how do you best work towards one? But with this, it's
I'm pretty sure that, like, as a new player, I don't know anything, and I see this beautiful hex that I want to claim. Yes, you might get.
I don't think there's a big change. If anything, because if they are working diligently on their empire, they are of use to the sector.
Right.
Are they going to be a considerable distance from each other?
That's a Kyle.
You won't be able to take more than one with the station. They're spread, so there's just one per station.
Cool. Is the new map the 3rd iteration of Sovereign Space for the beta, or is it a 3rd game mode?
Still Sovereign Space.
Still Sovereign Space.
This is just an expansion for the beta.
Yeah. Is the green zone still going to be raidable after ESA?
Yes.
As it is set up right now, yeah.
Are the empire-wide strategic hexes going to be guarded by NPCs to Kyle? I don't think so.
No, they are not. No, it's a race.
Okay.
So yeah, first past the post and grabbing those. Follow-up question: if they are guarded by NPC, which they're not, okay.
Okay, never mind.
How are things going with the soonish mobile app?
I was going to say something about Brazil, but I'm not. Do we have any from Brazil here?
I think
In Brazilian, you mean?
In Portuguese.
Brazilian
I think
Portuguese.
we have at least a couple. Yeah.
Oh man.
So I never saw that question. Next.
It's always soon as it's still not kind of it's not in a priority in us right now.
What are your thoughts on the insane activity demand the game currently puts on players in order to get them to compete at high levels? CSA and HSA queues are gold, and you can only pay for them by raiding and flaring your eyes out. How active you are directly determines how many resources you can get, flares and raids, or how many resources you can save for missions and what you can fund, straining many players to play too much. Are you looking into this anyway?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, all day long. I mean, you're taking very small steps maybe in distance, but the next 3 expansions are very much addressing exactly this.
All right.
Yeah.
Are there going to be multiple green zone sectors, areas like the media map? Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, there's 3 spawn sectors. Yeah.
There's a green zone in each sector, basically.
Yeah, but there's the green zone isn't really a thing in this one because as soon as the ESA is off, everyone's free game. So it's not really a green zone. It's just you spawn and you can start expanding.
But it's colored green in the map editor, right?
Yeah, so I know where people spawn.
Okay, Void Claim Painter. Well, I keep asking that question every day almost. So it's on the art director. And he's very dodgy when I start talking about it. Oh, we need to add this first and that, and then we can do it.
Wait, what's this? Void Claim Painter?
Yes, it's only our old concept. We'll paint.
So when we had the border painters come in, there was a concept art that Branks, of all people,
Every
time.
Branks.
It's coming soon.
I think there are some fences incoming.
Oh yeah,
I think most of the work around those have been done. They just need to be in game.
Tristan is asking, how will a smaller map impact server duration?
It seems every time we reduce the server duration, it's still kind of... It's one of the biggest questions, what's the right server duration for Starborne. Quicker servers means more... They're just more insane.
Yeah. You need to sleep.
That's kind of why we took it from 8 weeks to 10 weeks during the open beta. We reduced it again to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
I think we'll stick with 8 weeks for the distance ones. We might do a 10-week one, at least one of them, just to throw it out there and see, at least for the people who like that. So we could actually do more of a variance there.
Yeah.
I mean, these are lower population servers, and we'll do a lot of them in this period. So,
Wise Master is asking, how small is the small map? It's not that small.
No, it's actually quite big.
I talked about this earlier. It's the same radius of area as the large beta map, but there's significantly less playable area. So it's just a weird shape. It kind of relates to one of the other previous questions about what we liked most about the older maps and how that has inspired the newer maps. Space terrain or terrain on the playfield is something that I try to include in as much as possible in the maps, and this map is no exception. It takes a huge amount of terrain into play with the islands, with the PvE areas, the gaps of there's multiple venues for assault as opposed to just this open area that you can go anywhere.
Cool. Tristan again is asking, will there be versions of the sector win when you all work together towards one, and only compete with the question who contributes most? This would allow easy training for new players by focusing them on contribution towards a common goal.
This is kind of, we are doing the victory points for this iteration. We just added so much ranking categories into the game. We want to play around with it a little bit, but the options are definitely there.
Yeah. And then his bonus question: are resource nodes randomized? Yeah, we covered
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Well, so in the starting locations they're random, but they're set amounts. So like there's a set number of large nodes, there's a set number of medium nodes, set number of small in the starting location. But outside of that, there's a lot of random factor. So keep your eyes open.
Nihilus, related to his previous question about the activity demand, this also heavily impacts the performance of alliances, in that an alliance with multiple extremely active people will always outperform an alliance with fewer actives or with people that treat the game more casually. This isn't a question, this is an essay, Nihilus. What are you doing? Many servers end up being
more
decided.
succinct.
Where's the question? The guys with more time gathering, more resources. I don't know what the question is here exactly. Hit me up in DMs. We can kind of mull this over more if you want. But yeah, I can't make a question out of that.
But it's related to the other one. Just we are taking a very hard look into
like the activity levels that you need to have and just
to participate. Yes, and it's even gotten to a point where I seldomly can play just because it's too demanding on my time, and I want to play my game.
Yeah.
So like I said, Dissidence is. There are quality of life stuff coming in there, but this is still for the main focal point for the next expansions after Dissidence.
So yeah, Dissidence is just one upgrade that we're doing. We have more coming.
Just to repeat what Greta said earlier, like we are very much focused on this area for the next 3 releases after Dissidence. So Dark Empire asks, I know I've sort of been hooked on this for a while. Will there be any new ship types? Not in this release, no.
The next one, yes.
Skrettir. I guess I can get mine in. There have only been 3 servers with the second map, the S24 map. Any reason why this was moved away from so quickly? Are we looking into rotating maps next for the future of Starborne? I mean, the server 24 onwards was just one more of our tests of figuring out, like, what is the best map size? What is the best map configuration? Dissidence continues that experiment.
I would say, like, that map was more the same, just a smaller map.
Yeah.
So another essay, please, guys. Where's the question here? There's 1, 2, 3 question marks.
So it's similar to Nihilus's questions from earlier about burnout, a chronic issue, how we're going to address it.
Look, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm gonna throw a picture after this. Yeah, yes,
he's doing it. He's doing it.
No, it's
yes,
too early. They're not ready for it.
I know
that's why we're doing it.
I'm not going to comment any on it. I'm just going to leave it there.
Just the picture, no text, no supporting information, just the image.
So, okay.
No information.
It is blatantly apparent that you guys share our concerns about the activity level required to play Starborne. It is high on our priority list, and we are cooking up something very special to address this. And you will see that come to life in the next releases after Dissidence. Just throw that picture in now.
Are you sure?
No, I'm against it.
I think do it at the end, because if we do it now, what's going to happen is everyone's going to ask questions about it.
All questions about the pictures will be ignored.
Do it at the end. Are you guys ready? It's coming. We have I won't even tell you what it is. I think just let it speak for itself. It's going in Dead Zone questions, I believe.
Oh, no, that's not the right one.
You want it in Dead Zone chat?
Yes.
Yeah, the one. Dead Zone Roundtable. My brain is fried. Don't listen to Exo. I'm telling you to post the picture. What are you talking about? What side are you guys on?
Yep, I agree. Don't listen to Exo. Somebody thought you were me.
Hey. No text.
No text.
You can't say anything.
I'm just going to say secret.
Mark it as a spoiler. Click that box, and then they have to click it to see what it is.
Oh.
There you go.
And then delete it in 2 seconds. You have 2 seconds, guys.
It's posted. It's uploading.
Oh, Jesus.
What have we done? I think he copied it so we don't delete it.
Yeah, that's what he did. Good job, you guys.
Yeah, so just have that in the back of your minds while we do the rest of the questions.
Yeah. Okay, we got it, guys. Yes, you've copied it already.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, no questions around it.
Okay, let's finish our questions in the roundtable channel.
All right, so where were we? I think we got to the bottom. Scroll up. I think they were ticking.
New Bowler.
Higher up.
Yep, there were
So many questions.
Nerf Soul Affairs. I'm looking into it, Rodip.
How are server rewards distributed?
Please, guys, keep your questions succinct. There's a lot of questions, and we can't read them all up like that. So,
It's just who wins rewards, I think. Basically.
Oh yeah, it's around the blueprint farm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we'll take a not for this update, but expansion, but it's definitely not going to be the same in future.
What are some things in top feedback that you hooked in the game?
You saw my picture.
Yeah, look at the picture some more, Roadhip. Just let your eyeballs do the work.
I'm expecting so many DMs in Discord now.
Do we have a plan or new after this? Do you guys have in plan something new after this, or will you stick with the 3 for now for a bit of time?
Of the number of servers. No, it's
or 3 for now.
No, the number of maps. We have many maps planned.
It's gonna be at least play until December. This one, unless there's some serious issue with it, then we'll address that.
And Kyle can start from scratch. And
Commander M21 asked, when can we expect details on the combat update rework?
Now look at the picture.
Any update on the Alliance color bug?
I think it's being looked in there. Basically, when you relog or the Alliance colors you assign in the politics view aren't persistent.
Oh, okay.
I think it's being looked into. I can check on the status for you there.
We also love the RGB
values. Yeah, that would be good too. Purple asked, does the improvements on my Alliance menu will affect previous running servers or what?
I think, yes, some of the changes coming in will affect previous servers. I think some of the UI panels will.
Oh, yeah.
Things like the ranking overhaul, that won't, because that touches on the rankings API. So, yeah, from Dissidence onward on the 1st of October, all the servers will have all the improvements. There are maybe a handful of things that will backwardly affect the ongoing servers, to my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
So, Tris asked, wait.
Graphic called it an expansion one time. No, it's not an option. I'm sorry.
So the question is, will this override?
It's just a free expansion. It's a free update.
Yeah.
The answer to this is each time we release a new map, it's not permanently overriding previous maps in Starborne. It's just one version of a map that once we have the infrastructure, we'll be able to launch servers regularly with different maps and different rule sets. So we're just doing it in this fashion to test it. But for instance, the second map that was released that has only been out for a couple servers, there's nothing stopping us from putting a couple more of those in sporadically up until December. So,
okay.
With the Dissidence update, what bugs will happen with, the ones still going on? We're of course, we have been tremendously busy with finishing the Dissidence update for the past month or more even. But we are always working on the bugs. That's something that doesn't just stop because we don't want to fix bugs. So the answer there is we're always fixing bugs every time we get a chance to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, no. Scroll down. No, there we are.
Here.
Yep. Flu H8s, any thoughts on the issue of snowballing becoming even more of an issue now with the strategic hexes? If they're rushable, that might give spenders more advantage than before, moving the game more towards pay to win.
We are doing a balance pass over the weekend and to try to tune down snowballing as much as we can with the current mechanics.
Baron asks, any emphasis being put on making the game less of a no-life affair? Yeah, we've covered this several times now. Are we going to have lore talking and theorizing channel in Discord? I feel that all lore talk by the community just get lost over time, especially in that Zone chat and general chat. I don't think that lore or the world building here is something that can be easily done in a collective state. I think that's always going to be very hard. So I don't have any plans for that at the moment, but we'll see if we can do some community projects about some cool stories that we can introduce into Starborne later.
With how good active resource generation is, Flare's rating, nerfing passes more, how do you plan to help your more casual?
So we've answered this already several times. Are we going to be able to see other alliances in political view? Currently, I can only see my own.
That's related to the bug. I'll have a look at that. I think it's on our radar, as far as I know. Yeah.
Roleplay channel. Why is there not one? We used to have one for each server back in the day.
Yeah, we didn't. We had a political general channel and a politics channel for each server. So you guys are just highly advised to do all your role playing in the political channel of your server. Make any channel you want into your role playing server, within guidelines, of course. But yeah.
So do Feka gone? What?
That's
names of the 3 sectors. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So literally, like, you're not really picking a sector to start in. You're picking which of the 3 human blocks you're playing for. So you'll see it in the launcher once it's there. It will be referenced in the lore piece as well.
And Ancienter, kind of follow-up question. What are the names of the 3 races or blocks?
So they're not 100% finalized, but right now it's the Union of Sol, which is our solar system and the people that control our immediate vicinity. There's the Martian Commonwealth, and the Lunar Directorate.
So they are colonies, old colonies, or
those are the names. That's the question.
We'll see it better on. When's that blog coming on?
Monday.
Okay.
So yeah, watch the space for the lore dev vlog coming out on Monday. We'll have a lot more to talk about then. Nononx is asking why 3 factions and not 4 or 2? Is it going to change in future servers?
The overall blocks are not going to change, no. So why 3, not 2 or 4? Do you have any specific preference there?
I mean, we might. Anyway, no spoilers. But it's subject to change. Let's just put it like that.
Will this count as turning us from beta 1 to beta 2?
It's still
no,
beta
it's just
1.
beta.
Still beta. Yeah. How will spawning work in beta 2? No, we're beta 2 now, guys.
Cal maybe can answer how people are seated.
Yeah, it's going to be from center outwards, kind of like Feka's written it.
So from the middle outwards, yeah?
Is this Feka or definitely not Feka?
That's definitely not Feka. I don't know who that is.
Definitely not Feka then.
It says it's definitely not Feka.
I believe it. I buy it.
Discord names are highly reliable.
Will that some ever be available on demand? Yes. So I am putting in motion that we'll make a small practice server for 12 spawn locations.
Mm-hmm.
To start with, we have to deal with Locan to kind of queue them up on a very regular basis for new players and just people to practice. But we are looking into it, yes. I was just like literally 40 minutes ago talking to a backend programmer about this. What's the work involved in this?
Mm-hmm. Thoughts on private servers?
I want to take it to a place where people can actually create their own maps.
But not that's
now.
not happening right now.
Look at the picture while you wait.
So Nebosha said, that's not a question, Nebosha. Even if it's a compliment, you can't get away with this, Nebosha.
I'm going to give him 100%. Okay.
In the future, will you make something more where player can test station building like a sandbox? We have a test server. Speak to myself or Silinaly. We can hook you up. We have a test server where you can play with debug commands and testing out builds and stuff, finding bugs. Yeah, hit us up.
Join the super tester group.
How do you plan to address some issues that come to mind recently, such as allegations of abuse scripting and botting? Are there any features, procedural and or technical, to help address these concerns? A public API would normalize what is possible in this regard and could lead to more developers making resources for the community at large. So just to touch on the recent allegations and stuff, like there's been stuff going on. We don't laundry in public, so to speak. Everything's handled privately through DMs just to minimize the sort of name calling and atmosphere of like a witch hunt going on. But I think a public API would definitely help in this regard. It'll offload a lot of the work the developers do onto the fans of the game who can just go out and build the tools that they want. So Yeah, it's definitely something on our radar. Zan is asking, with lore of winners getting sector of galaxy named as own, do you mean 3 of the human factions from the sectors, or will the winning alliance get their name on that sector?
The 3 human blocks. You play for one of them, depending on which sector you choose to spawn in, and the sector that wins, that human block kind of claims that part of the geography permanently.
But there's scope in there as well, surely, to like highlight the alliances who were part of that server, like kind of like a...
I say permanently until we revisit that. So it might be that there's another battle in the same place, and the sector might get a new owner. But we'll see how that pans out.
Cool. Will NPCs finally have a standard color so we can see the difference between colored and uncolored?
Not yet, Tris. I really wanted to, though.
Yeah, I thought...
Dark Empire, yeah. Eventually, can we get a sort of galaxy claim map with like different things, like maybe factions with the most players in the winning team areas?
Not a question?
Not a question?
Maybe, yes. Maybe the faction.
Wait, can we have a sort of galaxy claim map with like different things? Just can you rephrase the question and repost it, please, Dark Empire? Flu88 says, follow up on green zones. If there aren't really green zones or flares equalized throughout the whole map, my understanding was that the green zone flares are smaller as of now. No, the flares are not linked to where they are on the map at all. Infinite server duration, give me...
I've actually designed a version of this. Just have to do it. I'll talk to you in like 3 years.
Definitely not fair. Asks, will you ever consider another premium server where the store is closed and you just pay for premium to get in? Granted, that's for you.
Yes.
Okay, that's a simple question.
Definitely. I'm looking into it. Probably a very small version of it. Like it's just going to be a small map.
Rodeb asks if the hexes you cannot build on are within the 510x radius. Yes, they are. Vanyax, would we ever get an alpha map?
No, you missed his question. It actually, I'll double check. I think they will spawn on the unbuildable hexes.
Have missions on it. Oh, yes.
Yeah, but we'll double check. Yeah.
Now, if they are void, they can have missions. Yes.
So you just need the scan strength on them, and missions will be there. Yeah.
Would we ever get an alpha game mode again? Vanya, like we said, nothing is out of the question, but that's not something that's happening anytime soon. Bad Crab asks, is the goal with these map experiments to build a single map with all the best features to play sovereign space on, or the idea to create a portfolio of different map types, features, and rules?
Both.
So both, yeah. So there's never going to be a map that everybody loves 100%. But of course, we are trying to figure out what is the best average map, so to speak, if that makes sense. Vanya asks, could EXO not blow up the NPCs in Beta 2?
I can't make any promises, but I'll try my best.
Nonas asks, will the image affect the 1st October? So we are going to keep the score, yes, Nonox, but like we said before, the actual geography, the geographical map of our Milky Way in the Starborne universe isn't ready yet, but yes.
And another thing, we are not going to be, our naming conventions are going to change for servers.
Oh, yeah. So instead of having servers being called, 26, 27, 28, 29, we're going to be naming them according to the geographical constellation or sector of the Milky Way.
Yes, that's already been covered. Does the moon still have a supercomputer who created several superhumans? You'll find that out soon, Rodep. My fanfiction, what'll happen to my fanfiction? My babies. It'll still be there. We're not archiving your fanfictions. Bad Crap, invite only tournament servers, either private mate. We want to do a bunch of stuff like this.
Yes. What we do want are smaller maps. We'll probably start experimenting with this in that zone now, rather than for summer space.
So any esports considerations? So that's that zone. Some type of that zone where eventually
for now it might hit sovereign space in like the expansions.
Yeah.
So we have a long-term roadmap brewing up. Which we will share in at least, hopefully, a part of it in the coming weeks.
So, Rodeb asks, any chance of gradual lore progression and service go on? i.e. Mars keeps winning service, so lore is added about Mars' success. So, we are not only creating the timeline for the Starborne universe until what we consider to be the present with Dissidence. The timeline is actually created further into the future, which will guide and keep us on track and within our lore parameters when we create new releases and new updates for the game. So, yes. So we actually know where we're going to take the lore. So when you will be able to kind of find stories that will link into future releases and future servers or future stories in Starborne within the game.
Strategy.
Hey,
Yay!
getting better.
Excellent. What? We're at the bottom? Guys, pick up the pace.
No, it's fine. We've been answering for an hour here.
I think invite only or separate tournaments would be a great way to keep new players engaged, as well as less competitive alliance or getting overrun and overwhelmed. Can we get legendary craftable station character cards for resource generation? As we do the lore, there is a direct need to at least review all character cards in the game. I don't think there's no plan for that legendary character resource generation right now. But you guys will see some changes to which character card is giving you what and has access to what. Like, for example, Gwen Reapers has never in my mind really fit the mission theme. I'm pretty sure that she's going to get designated to something else. So a bunch of stuff like that we're gonna solidify and make solid. And solidify and make solid.
Yes,
That's
I like
the same thing. Right?
Yeah, I like how you doubled up there.
I'm tired.
So I've noticed the guys are asking questions as quickly as we can answer them. So I think we're going to call a finish to. How do you guys feel? Do you want to keep going with the
Concept
questions?
character when? You already answered that.
Never.
Rewards for winning servers or donation tier would work with devs to design legendary character cards and runes. Possibly. Community engagement, yeah.
So I'll link my PayPal account.
No, I'll link mine.
Ah, damn it. The advantages of being community manager.
Hells yeah. Will there be an option to create your own tutorial sequence, basically allowing you to create an in-game guides that can trigger? There was one question we missed as well from Flu about plans updating the wiki. We have some plans for an in-game wiki, which basically covers every mechanic, building, effect, hex in the game. It's an ongoing progress. And
we have a wiki.
We have the online wiki at Starborne fandom.starborne or starborne.fandom.com. And yes,
shouldn't you know that URL?
I should, but it's been a long day. I can't control V it here.
I only claimed the I'm tired excuse. You can't do the same.
Okay. The in-game, I thought that was almost ready.
The framework is all there. It just needs populating with the various bits and pieces. But yeah, it's set up. It's ready to go. It's ready to get.
I think it still needs to be linked to. I don't think we have links to keywords yet.
No, but the way the wiki is set up is it's basically everything in the game is represented. It just needs fleshed out. Vane is asking, will there be changes to policy level requirements soon? Some seem kind of useless late game levels and would probably be better suited for early game.
I would definitely send Snookum's a note.
I mean, everything is up for review. I'm not paying. I don't have any time slated specifically for policies. I don't think there's anything huge there that needs to be addressed. Nothing that I'm aware of, at least.
So Merc Shop. We were actually
Be so good.
Yeah.
T-shirts, mugs, mouse mats, displays.
Yeah.
Be awesome. Flashy toys. Yeah.
So
it's a win-win.
No. I know we were contemplating to going on display at least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure exactly the status on that. It's kind of on our art director.
Only dog plushies. What happened to the harvester drones?
Oh,
they are back, I think.
I think they were fixed. I think that's in the build right now.
I actually heard the story of how we lost them.
What happened?
So JD was cleaning up legacy code. Can't just deleted them along with a bunch of stuff.
Ooh. That explains a lot. Starborne has been going downhill since then. All right, that's the last question for which we are
closing the questions now.
I have one other little bit of a kind of spoiler teaser. I can't let Greta take all the fame with that image he dropped. But tomorrow at around about 4:00 GMT, we will be opening up a Dissidence server on live Dissidence server on live for everyone to join to basically help us with load testing. I don't know how long it's going to run. I can't guarantee the state of what build it will be and how bug-free it will be, but you're all welcome to come and join. We'll be launching a Dissident server tomorrow for a short period of time to help with load testing.
Did Topker ask for that?
Yep. And Aid as well. Okay. So Saturday around about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. More information to come following that, but there'll be a ping in Discord and just jump in. Just help us load test.
So I don't get all the questions about this tomorrow. A lot of the new names and the lore stuff is not in there tomorrow.
Yeah, it's literally load testing just to help us see, like with all the effects on the map, can everyone spawn in at once? How does the service cope?
And Omni will randomize the map again before we actually launch Dissidence.
So yeah.